الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. So inshallah, let's continue with the Quranic summaries, overviews. Today inshallah we will be taking the remaining part of Surah Al-Naml, the Surah Al-Qasas, and part of Surah Al-Ankabut. Inshallah. So, just to quickly recap, the group of surahs we are in now is group 4. We mentioned yesterday the groups 4, 5, and 6. There were two common threads, or two common strands. What are they? In all three surah, these groups? Anybody? Groups 4, 5, and 6. The first strand is what? Good. Evidences and proofs for the Iman in Risala in group 4. The proofs and evidences for Tawheed in group 5. And the proofs and evidences for Akhirah, Iman bil Akhirah in group 6. And the second strand is, throughout these three groups of surah, is what? Expectations. Good. Expectations from those who believe. If you believe in Risala or Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that he is Rasulullah, Abduhu wa Rasuluhu wa Khatab al-Nabiyyin, then what is the expectation from you, O believers? And if you believe in Tawheed, in group 5, then what does Allah Ta'ala expect from the believers who believe in his Tawheed? And if you believe in the Akhirah, then what does Allah expect from the people who believe in the Akhirah? Yes? So, this is the overview of the three groups of surahs now, groups 4, 5, and 6. So let's inshallah look at the summary of now this Juzz that we're going to be looking at today. And let's first look at the booklet summary in the Quranic summaries booklet for Juzz. This Juzz 20. So as I mentioned, the remaining part of Surah Al-Naml is given here. Prophets are given salam. We mentioned this yesterday. And then there is a section on asking us to think, asking people to think about the one who you accept as the Khaliq, creator, and Rabb, sustainer. Why do you not also believe in him as Ilah? So we will talk about that inshallah. And then Allah Ta'ala mentioned that the main issue of the people who are rejecting this invitation is that they don't want to believe in the Akhirah because they love this dunya, and they fear that they will lose their position. And then the end of the surah encourages and reassures the Prophet ﷺ and the believers to keep inviting, to carry on with their da'wah. Then Surah Al-Qasas we will look at. This is a very beautiful surah. Most of this surah is dedicated to the life of Musa alayhi salam and his struggle against Fir'aun. And there are many lessons to learn from that, many parallels to learn from that. And then it will talk about, again, they follow their desires, the people who are being invited. And the fact that Allah Ta'ala says, you cannot guide whom you love, Ya Rasulullah. Only Allah can guide. Your job is to convey. And again, the real fear of the Quraysh has been mentioned here, that they love their status and power. So inshallah we'll be looking at this, and then the section in Surah Al-Ankabut. So let's take the remaining part of Surah Al-Naml. Surah Al-Naml from ayah 60 to 64. Let's take this section 60 to 64. So if we look at this section, it will give proofs for Allah's uluhiyya and hakimiyya. Now, what does it mean? This is important to understand this. The difference between our belief in Allah as Rabb, Khaliq and Ilah. There is a difference. And Allah Ta'ala, He deserves all of these. So Allah and His oneness, Allah's Tawheed, Allah's oneness in terms of Him being the sole creator. He is the only creator of everything. He is Khaliq, creator. He is Fatir, originator. He is Badi'us samawati wal ard. He is the one who created everything from nothing. There was nothing before, and He created time and space and matter. Yeah, this is the first. Most people will believe in this to some extent. Then after He created, He is Rabb. He is Rabbil Alameen. Of all of creation, He is the one who is keeping it alive. Yeah? He didn't just create it and leave it. So now He is still keeping it alive, sustaining it, providing it with everything that creation needs to remain alive, to maintain its existence, as well as for it to grow. He's Rabb. So this is the Rabbubiyya. Then there is Uluhiyya, Ilah. La ilaha illallah. Ilah. Ilah means the one that you obey. Yes, you obey. You love. Okay. So Allah Ta'ala is saying in these ayat we will look at, you accept He is creator and Rabb, but why do you not accept Him to be your sole Ilah, the one and only Ilah that you will obey? Because you have obeyed, you obey, you claim to obey Allah, but you also obey your forefathers who go against what Allah says. So you are tradition followers. You are desire followers. Yes, but you are not following Allah alone. So this is the demand of the messengers. Okay, that we dedicate only to Allah all your obedience. So let's look at these ayat in Surah Al-Naml. Ayah 60 to 64. So Allah Ta'ala, He's saying to these people, أَمَّنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ وَأَنزَلَ لَكُم مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فَأَنبَتْنَا بِهِ حَدَائِقَ ذَاتَ بَهْجَةٍ مَا كَانَ لَكُمْ أَن تُنبِتُوا شَجَرَهَا. After telling us that He is the creator of the heavens and the earth, He sends the rain and He causes all the vegetation to grow. Allah Ta'ala then asks a question, and this question will be asked 4 times in this ayat. A ilahum ma'allah. Yeah, this is the key. A ilahum ma'allah. Is there an ilah with Allah? Yeah, is there an ilah with Allah that you should obey? Bal hum qawmun ya'dilun. Instead of making Allah their only ilah, they are associating partners with Allah. And then Allah reminds again, أَمَّنْ جَعَلَ الْأَرْضَ قَرَارًا وَجَعَلَ خِلَالَهَا أَنْهَارًا وَجَعَلَ لَهَا رَوَاسِيَ وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَ الْبَحْرَيْنِ حَاجِزًا. He then again reminds people Allah is the creator of the earth, and He made your earth stable for you, and then He has placed in it rivers and mountains. Then He asks question again. So He's Khaliq and Rabb, yeah? People are accepting Him as Khaliq and Rabb, but they are not accepting His uluhiyya. So Allah asks, ilahum Allah. So should there be somebody who you obey other than Allah? Bal aktharum la ya'lamun. But most of them, they don't obey Allah. أَمَّ يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ وَيَجْعَلُكُمْ خُلَفَاءَ الْأَرْضِ. So now when you are in problems and you have trouble, then who is the one who removes that for you? And He has made you generations that come after each other, meaning He has created this continuity of life in this fashion, in this manner, this system of life which you take for granted. Ilahum Allah. So should you then be devoted and dedicate your love and your obedience to anybody other than the one who has created this? قَلِيلًا مَا تَذَكَّرُونَ. Only few will be reminded. أَمَّنْ يَهْدِيكُمْ فِي ظُلُمَاتِ الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ وَمَنْ يُرْسِلُ الرِّيَاحَ بُشْرًا بَيْنَ يَدَيْ رَحْمَتِهِ. And then He is further reminding people of His favor of guidance in the darknesses in the sea and on the land. And He is the one who sends the winds with His mercy. All of this that we take for granted, Allah Ta'ala is waking His humanity up. He's saying, you take these for granted. Yes, you take everything for granted. You should not take it for granted. You should be grateful to Allah. And then He asks again, ilahum Allah. Can there be an ilah with Allah? Ta'ala Allah. Allah, He is high, mighty, above that which they ascribe to Him. And then again, in the last time, أَمَّنْ يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُهُ. It is He who begins the creation and then He repeats it. وَمَنْ يَرْزُقُكُم مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Who is the one who is sustaining you from the heavens and the earth? From the heavens you have the sky, you have the water, you have the rain. Water which is essential for your life, and then from the earth, everything that grows on the earth. Who is giving that to you? Only He is. Ilahumma Allah. Then should you worship other than Allah? And in the end, Allah Ta'ala is, after giving these evidences and asking them the same question of who should be your ilah, Allah Ta'ala says, if you still deny, or if you still are going to say there is other than Allah as an aliha, then qul, say to them, hatu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqin. Bring your evidence for your claim that there are ilah other than Allah who you should dedicate your lives to, if you are truthful to this claim. So giving the evidence and then asking them to bring evidence to back up their claim. And of course, they have no evidence to back up their claim. So the next section is a conclusion of the surah An-Naml. And if you remember, Surah An-Naml, just to remind us, that this was an invitation especially to the leaders, yeah, the leaders that look at the Queen of Saba, who was a leader. She was a Hakima. She was the leader. She was the queen. But look, when she found the truth, she submitted to the truth. Yeah, she accepted Allah Ta'ala as Ilah. You, all leadership of Quraysh, you should also accept Allah as the only Ilah. So there is a reassurance to the Prophet ﷺ, and there is mention of the hereafter to encourage the believers and to warn the disbelievers. And the result of shirk in the end has been highlighted in these ayat. Let's take one other ayah. Let's take these ayat 91 to the end of the surah as a conclusion to this surah. 91. One thing you should make a note of, that in these surahs now, this phenomenon of good deeds will be mentioned repeatedly. Hasanat and Sayyi'at. Yeah? Hasanat and Sayyi'at will be mentioned repeatedly in these surahs, near the end of these surahs. So let's take the concluding ayat. إِنَّمَا أُمِرْتُ أَنْ أَعْبُدَ رَبَّ هَذِهِ الْبَلَدَةِ الَّذِي حَرَّمَهَا وَلَهُ كُلُّ شَيْءٍ وَأُمِرْتُ أَنْ أَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. So the Prophet ﷺ is saying very clearly that I have been commanded solely that I should worship only Allah alone, who is the Rabb of this land and the sacred, the sanctuary that you also acknowledge as sacred, Ka'batullah. And I have been commanded to be the first who submits to Allah. And then Allah Ta'ala is telling the Prophet ﷺ, your job is وَأَنْ أَتْلُوَ الْقُرْآنِ, is to recite the Quran, meaning convey this Quranic message. And then in response to that, فَمَنِ اهْتَدَى فَإِنَّمَا يَهْتَدِي لِنَفْسِهِ, whoever is guided, then that person will be guided for the betterment of his own nafs. وَمَنْ ضَلَّ, but whoever is not guided is misguided because the person does not accept it. فَقُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُنذِرِينَ, then say, I can only warn. My job is to warn. And in the end, وَقُلِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ, and in the end, say Alhamdulillah. All praise and thanks is to Allah. سَيُرِيكُمْ آيَاتِهِ, He will show you His signs, فَتَعْرِفُونَهَا, and you will recognize them. Just like you recognize the Prophet ﷺ, يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُم. They knew him as they know their sons. They knew he was truthful. وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. Allah is not unaware. Ghafil. Yes. Ghafil, the one who is heedless, unaware from what you are doing. Okay. So Surah Al-Naml and then Surah Al-Qasas. Surah Al-Qasas revealed in the late part of Makki period, between the 6th and the 10th of Makki period in Nabawi. This is a period when the leadership were acting like Fir'aun and his other deputies like Qarun, who was a very, very rich capitalist, arrogant capitalist. And Haman, his minister, you could say, of interior minister. So there are many parallels here. Somebody, Jazakallah khair to them, they reminded me, told me, I didn't think of this before. There are many parallels between Surah Qasas and Surah Yusuf. Yeah, between Surah Qasas, that we're going to look at briefly now, and Surah Yusuf, even to the extent that the way the surahs start, and then how Allah Ta'ala, He helped Musa initially, and Yusuf initially, the problems they faced, and then how Allah Ta'ala changed their situation, and how the people who were against both of these prophets, how they were then subdued, and then the authority was taken from them and given to, for example, Yusuf and Musa alayhi salam. So there are many parallels between this and Surah Yusuf. Some key words and key concepts in this surah is ulu fil ard. Ulu fil ard. Ulu fil ard. Ulu fil ard. And istikbar fil ard. Istikbar fil ard. To show, to think you are the highest, and to exhibit and actually carry out your arrogance on the earth. Meaning, your one arrogance is one that is in the heart of the person. Yeah, person thinks he is better. But istikbar fil ard and ulu fil ard means now you are, that is having an effect on people through your oppression. You're actually oppressing people because of this. It is manifesting itself. It is not just within you. So this has been mentioned in the beginning, and near the end of the surah. And another word, rad, has been mentioned in ayah 7, 13, and 85, which means we will return you to. Yeah. In the first two instances, it has been mentioned about Musa alayhi salam that Allah Ta'ala says that he will return him to his mother, and then he did return Musa alayhi salam to his mother. And in the end of the surah, Allah Ta'ala mentions to the Prophet ﷺ that we will return you, O Muhammad ﷺ, to your original place. So one tafsir means back to Makkah, you will come back. And the other is, of course, you will meet Allah. You'll come back to the original place where you were created by Allah. So these are some key words to keep in mind as we study the surah, inshallah. Let's look at the central theme of Surah Al-Qasas. Refrain from trying to dominate and cause mischief on earth. Yeah, Ulu fil ard, istikbar fil ard. Otherwise, you may meet the same punishment and consequence as Fir'aun and Qarun. Okay, this is a warning to any nation, any leadership at any time. Yes, that do not cause ulu fil ard, because eventually you will be punished. And a very startling, a very vivid, clear example of that in our times is that of the USA and the USSR. Yes, the USSR, the Russia, used to be the United States of the Soviet republics. But it now has been scattered into different countries because they showed istikbar fil ard and they showed ulu fil ard against the believers in Afghanistan. Okay? And then after that, the USA, they thought that we are better than them. And then they tried to bombard and destroy and demolish the believers in Afghanistan. They exhibited their ulu fil ard and istikbar fil ard. But as we know, that they had to then kneel down and submit defeat against those handful of people and had to enter into the contract, peace contract, and the contract of them taking out their troops, the withdrawal of their troops from Afghanistan. And this, inshallah, is the Sulh of Hudaybiyah, inshallah. Inna fatahna laka fatha mubina. It is the beginning of the conquests of the true believers, inshallah, in our era. Yeah? So we should think of things in relationship to where we are as well. Khair. So, let's take some ayat, inshallah. Let's take the first 5 ayat of Surah Al-Qasas. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Tasin Mim. تلك آيات الكتاب المبين نتلو عليك من نبأ موسى وفرعون بالحق لقوم يؤمنون. This is very important to understand this last few words. لقوم يؤمنون. Allah Ta'ala is saying to the believers, I am relating this story to you, the news of Musa and Fir'aun, and it will be lengthy, 40 ayat or so, or more than that even. And this is only for the benefit of the people who believe, for the believers. So this is Allah Ta'ala saying, I am relating this to you, O believers, to strengthen you. Yeah? رَبَطْنَا عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ. You remember this word? رَبَطْنَا عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ. Where was it? Surah Al-Kahf. And in this surah we will find this also this word. Yes, Allah Ta'ala will use this for the mother of Musa alayhi salam to strengthen her resolve. Yeah? This is for the believers to strengthen their resolve. And the miracle or the proof of the messengerhood in this is that Allah Ta'ala, He is giving them surahs and the information that is so relevant to what is happening. And the Quraysh, they know this inside, that this is what's happening. Inna fir'auna ala fil ard. Ala is uluya, ala. He exalted himself on the earth. وَجَعَلَ أَهْلَهَا شِيعًا يَسْتَدْعِفُ طَائِفَةً مِّنْهُمْ يُذَبِّهُ أَبْنَاءَهُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيِي نِسَاءَهُم. This was his exaltation. How did he act out his ulu fil ard? By killing, persecution, ethnic cleansing. You heard of this ethnic cleansing? Ethnic cleansing. Allah understand. Just recently in our lifetime, we have witnessed this in Bosnia. Ethnic cleansing of Muslims in Bosnia. إِنَّهُ كَانَ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. Indeed, he was from those who cause mischief and corruption on the earth. So Allah Ta'ala then said, look at this, how Allah Ta'ala deals with these mufsideen and mustakbirin and those who cause ulu fil ard. وَنُرِيدُ أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Those people who were being persecuted on the earth by these tyrants, Allah Ta'ala, He then intended, He wanted to do them a favor. وَنَجْعَلَهُمْ أَئِمَّةً. And to make them the leaders. وَنَجْعَلَهُمُ الْوَارِثِينَ. And then make them the inheritors of this land. Just like we made those, Musa and Bani Israel, the inheritors, we will make you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the believers, the inheritors in this land. وَنُمَكِّنَ لَهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And to establish them. Remember we mentioned this, tamkeen. إِمَّكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Yes. What will the believers do when they have been given this establishment? أقام الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأمروا بالمعروف ونهوا عن المنكر. Yes, this was given in which surah? Hajj. Hajj. So we will give them establishment في الأرض ونري فرعون وهامان وجنودهما منهم ما كانوا يحذرون. And then Allah Ta'ala, He will show them Fir'aun, Haman and the soldiers through this, that which they feared. Allah Ta'ala will show them the end of their power. So Allah Ta'ala told us right in the beginning that this is Allah Ta'ala's plan. Okay, moving on. So the story starts with Musa alayhi salam and his mother being very afraid for him. And so she, as we know from other parts of the Quran, she puts him into the basket as Allah Ta'ala, He inspires her. And then she is afraid for his safety. But then Allah Ta'ala, He makes sure that you do not worry. Here it says, Inna raduhu ilayk. Inna raduhu ilayk. We will return him to you. Okay, so don't worry, he will come back to you. This word rad, as I mentioned, has been mentioned in here 7, ayah 7 first. Then it will be mentioned in ayah 13. And then here Allah mentioned, Rabatna ala qalbiha, Allah Ta'ala, He gave her a steadfast, resolute heart. And then Allah Ta'ala made sure that he would come back because nobody else could, no witness was accepted by him. فَرَدَدْنَاهُ إِلَىٰ أُمِّهِ كَيْ تَقَرَّ عَيْنُهَا وَلَا تَحْزَنْ. This is very key ayah. Allah Ta'ala, He then sent him back, restored him to his mother in order to give her the coolness of her eyes and for her not to have any grief. وَلِتَعْلَمَ أَنَّ وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقٌّ. And to know, and He's telling the believers now, yeah, that you should know that Allah Ta'ala, He never breaks His promise. It is true, His promise is true, but it comes at its time. So don't hasten that. Now, so this now links to the next surah, Ankabut, because that is when some of the believers, when they were persecuted, they were saying, why doesn't Allah Ta'ala's help come now? Yes? And that is responded to there. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. But most people don't realize this, that Allah Ta'ala's promise will come, but it will come in its time. So the story goes on that Musa alayhi salam, he kills a person by mistake, and then he leaves Egypt and he goes to Madian, and in Madian then he finds a righteous person with daughters, and he marries them. Eventually one of them, he marries them after staying with them for an agreed time period where he works for that righteous person as well. And then he returns back to Egypt, and Allah gives him the wahi. Allah Ta'ala tells him that he is the Rasul. So now you have to go and talk to Fir'aun. So then Allah Ta'ala mentions, by giving him the help of Harun and Allah Ta'ala's help, Allah says, قَالَ سَنَشُدُّ عَدُدَكَ بِأَخِيكَ. We will strengthen your arm through your brother. So Allah Ta'ala is telling the believers that Allah, He will strengthen you. وَنَجَعَلُ لَكُمَا سُلْطَانًا. And then we will give you supremacy. فَلَا يَصِلُونَ إِلَيْكُمَا. Fir'aun will not be able to harm you. بِآيَاتِنَا. With my signs that you will take. أَنْتُمَا, both of you. وَمَنِ اتَّبَكُمَا الْغَالِبُونَ. Whoever follows you, O Musa and Harun, they will be dominant. غَالِبُونَ. They will be dominant. So the story goes on, and then it mentions again in ayah and look at the arrogance of Fir'aun. قال فرعون يا أيها الملأ ما علمتم لكم من إله غيري. O eminent ones, I have not known you to have a God other than me. SubhanAllah, look at this. فَأَوْقِدْ لِيهَا يَا هَمَانْ. So build for me and ignite for me, يَا هَمَانْ عَلَى الطِّينِ, meaning ignite for me upon the clay, meaning now create for me, build for me from the furnace, فَجَعَلْ لِي سَرْحًا, a tower. Now this links to the previous surah, Naml. Yes? This word, sarha. In the previous surah, Surah An-Naml, yes, when the queen of Sheba, she came into the sarh of Sulaiman. Yes, you see that? This humbled her, yeah? She was humbled by this sarh, this palace that he had built high up. But Fir'aun, he is using the same word, sarh al-la'alli. But why is he wanting this tower to be built? لَعَلِّي أَطَّلِعُ إِلَىٰ إِلَهِ مُوسَى. So that I may look down upon the ilah of Musa. Because I think he is lying. This is the arrogance of Fir'aun. وَاسْتَكْبَرَ هُوَ وَجُنُودُهُ فِي الْأَرْضِ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ. So him and his soldiers, they exhibited this istikbar, this arrogance on the earth by persecuting people. وَظَنُّوا أَنَّهُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا يُرْجَعُونَ. They thought they will never come back to us. But look at what happened. فَأَخَذْنَاهُ وَجُنُودَهُ فَنَبَذْنَاهُمْ فِي الْيَمِّ. But we seized them and his whole army, and we left them to the mercy of the waves. فَانْظُرْ كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الظَّالِمِينَ. So see what happened to these ظالمين, wrongdoers. Okay, so moving on. A very important section of the Quran that we have to understand coming now. So after they have been invited, people have been invited in general to believe in the revelation of Allah. And here the focus is on the Torah and the Quran. Allah Ta'ala is saying to them, these people, okay, if you still don't believe, say to them, قُلْ فَأْتُوا بِكِتَابٍ مِّنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ هُوَ أَهْدَى مِنْهُمَا أَتَّبِعْهُ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. You have to understand this, it's very important. You know, when you give da'wah, and you have, in your da'wah, you have reached a place where you think you have explained everything that can be done. In a way, don't misunderstand me. Yeah? In a way, you have done itmam al-hujjah, in a way. And you realize that this person understood what I'm saying, appreciates what I'm saying, but is still stubborn. Yeah. Then the last resort can be, I'm saying this with a lot of caution because I don't want people to get excited and start using what I'm going to say straight away in a dawah conversation. So I have to say this carefully. The last thing that can get people to really think about what you're saying are these two ayat in a dawah conversation. Yeah? قُلْ فَأْتُوا بِكِتَابٍ مِّنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. Say to them, then bring a book from Allah which is more guiding than the Torah and the Quran. Yes. أَتَّبِعْهُ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. I will follow it. Prophet ﷺ is being told to say that if you can bring something that is more guiding than this from Allah, then I will follow it. Yeah? It's a challenge, isn't it? But then at the same time, Allah Ta'ala says, as Allah gives a challenge, He also tells us that they will never be able to meet the challenge. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَجِيبُ لَكَ. If they cannot respond to you, فَعْلَمْ. Then you should know the real issue with them not accepting your message is not that the message wasn't clear or the ayat were not clear, but it is أَنَّمَا يَتَّبِعُونَ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ. Is because they follow and they desire to follow their desires. And this is amazing. This next part of the ayah is amazing. وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ مِمَّنِ اتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ بِغَيْرِ هُدًى مِّنَ اللَّهِ. SubhanAllah. Allah Ta'ala is saying the most misguided people or person is that person who follows his or her desire without Allah's guidance. This is the most misguided, not just misguided, because it says وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ. وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ is a question, but it's actually a statement. To say the most misguided person is the one who follows his or her desire without Allah's guidance. And you will find majority of people you speak to in our environment today, yeah, in open days, and we've experienced this, is I'm a very nice person, I don't harm anybody, I don't need guidance. I know what's right and wrong. This is the biggest misguidance Allah Ta'ala is saying. Yes? Because they are saying, I know what to do. What does it mean, I know? It means I know, meaning I'll do what I want. This is hawa. So this we need to also bring to light to people who say these things, that no, this is misguidance. To think we know without Allah's guidance is the greatest misguidance. Inna Allah la yahdi al-qawm al-zalimin. These wrongdoing people who have done dhulm, who have not given the right to Allah, Allah does not guide such people because they have rejected the guidance through their arrogance. And then some qualities of the believers are given in this surah. أُولَٰئِكَ يُؤْتَوْنَ أَجْرَهُمْ مَرَّتَيْنِ بِمَا صَبَرُوا. These believers will be given their ajr, twice the ajr, because of their steadfastness. Number 2, وَيَدْرَؤُونَ بِالْحَسَنَةِ السَّيِّئَةِ. And I mentioned this has come again and again, yeah? They repel evil with good. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. And they will spend from what Allah has given them. And when they hear anything laghv, they turn away from it. And they say, for us, our a'mal, for yours, and then they leave by saying, salamun. We do not want to indulge with the ignorant people, because this is not going to be fruitful. And then the ayah that mentions that Allah Ta'ala, He guides, you cannot guide whom you love. Okay, let's look at ayat 57 to 60. Let's see where we are here. Okay, 57 to 60. A warning to the Quraysh. Allah Ta'ala is telling them, this is what they say. Yeah? This is the excuse that the Quraysh make. وَقَالُوا إِن نَتَّبِعِ الْهُدَى مَعَكَ. The Quraysh are saying to the Prophet ﷺ, if we were to follow the guidance with you, نُتَخَطَّفْ مِنْ أَرْضِنَا. We would be swept away, yes, from this earth. Meaning we would lose our position, our status, and our power. This is the inside of the Quraysh speaking now. Yeah, they can't reject the signs, they can't reject what you're saying, but they're saying this is what we fear. Yes, this is what a lot of people say when it comes to it. They say, no, being realistic, I can't follow this because this and this I will lose. Yeah? Allah Ta'ala is saying, أَوَلَمْ نُمَكِّنْ لَهُمْ حَرَمًا آمِنًا يُجْبَى إِلَيْهِ ثَمَرَاتُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ رِزْقًا مِنْ لَدُنَّا وَلَكِنْ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Allah Ta'ala is saying, already have we not established for them a safe sanctuary to which are brought the fruits of all things as provision from us, meaning in this haram. We have already given you this. Do you think that if you dedicate your life to this ilah, the only one ilah, the true ilah, then He would abandon you? Of course not. But most of them, they don't realize, they don't want to listen to this because they think they will keep their position. But of course, they would not keep their position. They lost their position in this dunya and in the akhirah. And Allah Ta'ala mentioned to them, وَكَمْ أَهْلَكْنَا مِنْ قَرْيَةٍ بَطِرَتْ مَعِيشَتَهَا. How many a city we destroyed that was insolent in its livelihood. And they had very good livelihood, a great economy, if you like. But these dwellings, nobody now lives there. We now are the inheritors. Remember in the beginning of this surah, what was it mentioned about warithin? We intend to show favor to our believers and will make them inherit the land. Yes, and Allah Ta'ala is mentioning that again. And Allah mentions them, وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ مُهْلِكَ الْقُرَىٰ حَتَّى يَبْعَثَ فِي أُمِّهَا رَسُولًا يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِنَا. Allah Ta'ala will never destroy a nation or a qaryah or any land or any tribe or any nation until He has sent the messenger. وَمَا كُنَّا مُهْلِكِ الْقُرَىٰ إِلَّا وَأَهْلُهَا ظَالِمُونَ. And we would not destroy the cities except because of their wrongdoing. وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَمَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَزِينَتُهَا. Whatever you have been given is only for this life, as a test, which is with Allah. وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. What is with Allah is better and it is everlasting. This is temporary. What you think you have, you will lose it soon. أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Will you not then think about this? Yes? Moving on. Qarun has been mentioned. Yeah? Qarun has been mentioned. But before that, there is mention here of the people who were followers, and they declared their disassociation with the leadership. Anyway, move on. Qarun is mentioned 79 to 81. Qarun was a very, very rich, I think in the diagram, I think we mentioned him as a capitalist. Yeah. The support of a despotic government. The support, these governments, despotic, meaning tyrannical government of Fir'aun and his Mala, by an opportunist capitalist Qarun. So Qarun, he made money from this. Yeah, he made money. He allied with the government to make money. You will be very surprised that this is exactly what's happening nowadays. If you look at the list of the companies globally now that have the greatest assets and the greatest market share and the greatest influence, you will find that they are allying with the governments, because they serve the government's purpose and the government serves their purpose. You see this? You should see this, what is happening, especially in this with this pandemic. Which companies have allied together to help government globally? Which governments? Which companies? Data companies. Data companies. Companies, for example, like Google, Apple. These companies are getting together, yes, to ally with the governments, because it is a capitalist opportunity. Okay, let's take some ayat about this Qarun. فَخَرَجَ عَلَى قَوْمِهِ فِي زِينَتِهِ. He came out with all his pomp and glory for the people to see. قال الذين يريدون الحياة الدنيا يا ليت لنا مثل ما أوتي قارون إنه لذو حظ عظيم. People who prefer this life, they were impressed. Yeah, don't be impressed by the dazzle. Yeah, by anything or anybody or any company or any state. They said, we wish we were like this. Yes, they looked up to Qarun. And they said, إِنَّهُ لَذُو حَظٍ عَظِيمٍ. ذُو حَظٍ عَظِيمٍ. Make a note of this keyword. ذُو حَظٍ عَظِيمٍ. He is one of the great fortunate people. ذُو حَظٍ عَظِيمٍ. This has then been explained. Who is ذُو حَظٍ عَظِيمٍ in Surah Fussilat? Surah Hamim As-Sajda. Fussilat. It will come in there. Who are the people who are ذو حظ عظيم. وقال الذين أوتوا العلم ويلكم ثواب الله خير لمن آمن وعمل صالحا وما يلقاها إلا الصابرون. And this, the people who had real knowledge of this life and the hereafter, they realized and they said to him, woe to you, Allah's reward is better than what you have if you have belief and do good deeds. وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا. Nobody will reach that status except for the people who have steadfastness in obeying Allah. And again, this phrase, وَمَا وَلَا يُلَقَّاهَا, يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا الصَّابِرُونَ, has been mentioned again in Surah Fussilat. So what happened to him? فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ الْأَرْضِ. Allah Ta'ala, He caused the earth to swallow him and everything that he had. فَمَا كَانَ لَهُ مِنْ فِئَةٍ يَنْصُرُونَهُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُنْتَصِرِينَ. Nobody came to help him. And it is mentioned earlier in the surah that he had treasures. The keys of those treasures were so numerous and so heavy that he had many men who had to hold and carry the keys to those treasures. Yes. And he boasted that أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ. I gathered all this because I'm very clever. Yes, I had the skills. But then when those people, they realized the truth, they realized that the disbelievers are not the successful people. And then Allah mentions the beginning of the surah. He mentioned ulu fil ard, yeah, in ayah 7 or 3. And now near the end of the surah, in this ayah, this is ayah 73, yeah. تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا. Allah Ta'ala saying, Allah Ta'ala does not, the hereafter, the home of the hereafter has not been prepared for people who intend ulu fil ard and cause mischief on earth. So these people will not go to Jannah. Wal aqiba, the real Jannah, the end result is for the muttaqeen, people of taqwa. And then again in this surah it mentions, like I said in the previous surah, about good deeds. Yeah? Whoever brings here Ja'a bil hasana, comes with a good deed, will have better than that, meaning at least 10 rewards. And whoever comes with one bad deed will only be given that one deed as a recompense. And then, as I mentioned in the beginning, the word rad, as we mentioned again, inna alladhi farada alayka al-Quran, indeed the one who has made this Quran a farz upon you, Ya Rasulullah, yeah, farz upon the Prophet ﷺ to convey its message, لَرَادُّكَ إِلَى مَعَادٍ. He, meaning Allah, will definitely, He will return you to your place in the hereafter, as it says in the notes as well, and to Makkah. So this is glad tidings to the believers that you will be returned. قُلْ رَبِّي أَعْلَمُ مَنْ جَاءَ بِالْهُدَى وَمَنْ هُوَ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Allah knows better who is guided and who is misguided. And then in the end, in fact, we are at the end. Let's take the last ayah. وَمَا كُنْتَ تَرْجُو أَنْ يُلْقَى إِلَيْكَ الْكِتَابُ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً مِنْ رَبِّكَ فَلَا تَكُونَنَّ ظَهِيرًا لِلْكَافِرِينَ وَلَا يَصُدَّنَّكَ عَنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ بَعْدَ إِذْ أُنْزِلَتْ إِلَيْكَ وَادْعُ إِلَى رَبِّكَ وَلَا تَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ وَلَا تَدْعُ مَعَ اللَّهِ إِلَهًا آخَرَ. Again, ilah has been mentioned. لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُ. Only Allah is the ilah. كُلُّ شَيْءٍ هَالِكٌ إِلَّا وَجْهَهُ. Everything except Allah Ta'ala will perish. Lahul hukm. For him on that day then will be the last judgment, and today therefore you should judge according to his judgment. وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ, because you have to all go back to Allah. So that is Surah Al-Qasas. And then Surah Al-Ankabut. Surah Al-Ankabut, one of the names you can name it is, one of the names that can be given to this surah is Surah Al-Ibtila, the surah of tests and trials and tribulations and challenges. So the context of this surah is given in the tafsir very beautifully, that one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, he was tortured badly. I think Khabbab ibn Art radiallahu anhu, where he was tortured such that the skin of his back was burnt by placing him on coal, burning coal. And so the companion came to the Prophet ﷺ and said that, when will the help of Allah come? We are being persecuted. And then he was told that you are being hasty. You are being hasty. Because people came before you who were sawn in half. And people came before you, the believers who were tested, and they were tested with the combs, iron combs, being used to tear off their flesh. So don't be hasty, you are being hasty. And so Allah Ta'ala, He revealed these ayat, beautiful ayat, Alif Lam Mim, أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. O you who believe, do you think that you will just say, I believe, we believe, and you will not be tested? Fitna, this word fitna, yuftanun, fitna. Fitna is a key term of Quran. Fitna is the process. What is fitna? You should know. I've told you, I think, a million times maybe now. Who knows the meaning of fitna here?
process of extracting silver from ore.
Good. The process of extracting the pure gold and silver from its original ore. Yes? By burning it through a furnace or a kiln. K-I-L-N. This is fitna. So Allah Ta'ala is saying, we will extract the best out of you by giving you tests. وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. And indeed, the believers before you, they were all put through this process of being purified. And then Allah Ta'ala, He makes it known who are true to the claim of belief and who are liars. أَمْ حَسِبَ الَّذِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ السَّيِّئَاتِ أَنْ يَسْبِقُونَ. And Allah Ta'ala is telling the believers, tell these disbelievers, tell these people who are committing all these atrocities and evil acts against you, do they think that they will be able to escape from us? سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُ. This is absolute evil what they have come to the conclusion. No, they will be captured and they would be punished. مَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُ لِقَاءَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّ أَجَلَ اللَّهِ لَآتٍ. Whoever expects the meeting with Allah, meaning has iman, oh you believers, then don't worry, you will. Allah Ta'ala, He is Sami, He is hearing and He knows everything that you're going through. وَمَنْ جَاهَدَ فَإِنَّمَا يُجَاهِدُ لِنَفْسِهِ. Whoever goes through this hardship and struggles against the batil, then the person is actually doing this for the benefit of himself. And this ayah number 6, relate it, join it to the last ayah of this surah. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those people who strive in our cause, Allah Ta'ala guides them. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَغَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ. Allah Ta'ala, He is not in need of the alameen. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَنُكَفِّرَنَّ عَنْهُمْ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ. These believers who do righteous good deeds and they fight for the cause of Allah and they meet these challenges, we will definitely remove from them their misdeeds and we will give them the best of the rewards for the best of their deeds. Subhanallah. Allahumma rabba jalla minhum. So with that, we will stop now. We will take the rest tomorrow. Just wanted to mention that if I'm not mistaken, tonight will be the first odd night. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes? 21st night. And this is the beginning of the last 10 days, of Ramadan. And especially the last 10 nights of Ramadan. And we know that in these nights, there is one night of Laylatul Qadr, where Allah Ta'ala has mentioned, Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr, wa ma adraka ma Laylatul Qadr, Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. So you should study the tafsir of this surah. We should study before today we should study the tafsir of this surah. We have many misunderstandings about Laylatul Qadr. So the tafsir will help us to know the reality and what we should believe. So this is the best night of the day of the year, in fact, Laylatul Qadr, and in it there is a huge reward. And Aisha radiallahu anha, she asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there's a sister at the door. Aisha radiallahu anha, she asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what dua should I make if I find Laylatul Qadr? And he gave a very comprehensive but very easy and brief dua, which is Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Oh Allah, you love to pardon, forgive. You are the one who pardons, you love to pardon and forgive, so please pardon and forgive me. Afwa is different to maghfirah and kaffara. Yeah, it is different. Maghfirah means cover my faults. Kaffara means hide my faults. Afu means erase them as if they didn't happen. Yeah, so a very comprehensive dua. And we should make the most of these 10 nights do lots of qiyam, lots of sujood, lots of ruku, lots of tilawa, lots of dua. Cry to Allah, beg to Allah for everything, for His guidance, for His hidayah, for His maghfirah, and to save us from the Jahannam.